Welcome to the Prioritize You podcast, your go-to for connection and support in your journey of prioritizing your health in the chaos of motherhood. I'm your host, Brittany, health, fitness, and nutrition coach and mom of 3. I've navigated the depths of postpartum challenges, and through personal experience and 15 years of professional experience as a health and fitness coach, I was able to develop practical systems and frameworks to not only stay afloat, but to thrive physically and mentally. It's called the Prioritize You method. Say farewell to the pressures of perfection and restrictive routines. No more guilt, no more rigid regimens, no more burpees, just a compassionate space where self-love and sustainable practices are the goal. It's time to rediscover your energy, enthusiasm, and confidence as you take on the most kind and gentle journey of prioritizing you. Let's do this. I'm right here with you, promise. In today's episode, we are going to talk about kind of rephrasing phrases that you say to make them more realistic and more real. Because the words that we say do have a really big influence on the action that we take. And so if you've convinced yourself of one thing because you've said it a million bajillion times, then that's your truth at that point in time. And so what I do a lot of times with my clients is, every time I speak to them, is I make my clients get really real with themselves. Like, I ask the hard questions. I ask the things that kind of make you face yourself to say, like, is that real? Is that real life? Is that true? What I've said all these years about myself or about my time or about my routine or about my schedule or about my body, is it true? And so this morning I just got to thinking about, I was thinking about my morning routine because I'm filming a little morning in my life video. And I just got to thinking about how I'm probably going to have some people comment or somebody comment, oh, I don't have time for all of that. And here's the thing, like, maybe you really don't. Maybe you work at 5 a.m. and you go to sleep at midnight. Like, maybe you really don't have the time. And I get it. And if you are within like a year of postpartum, this message is not necessarily for you, okay? Because that year postpartum, like, you are surviving, okay? Like, let's be real. You are in survival mode. Your baby is still probably waking up all of the time, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to tell you, you're in it if you are a year postpartum. But if you're not, what I was thinking about was I'm likely going to get some people to say to me, I don't have time for all of that, or, whatever, when it comes to a morning routine. And here is the thing about that. You likely have the time. You don't have the time, right? Because you're filling it with other things, but you have the time. You just don't want to make the time. Time is not going to find you. I can't tell you how many people I've worked with over the course of my 15 years as a coach. And, a couple months in or 6 months in, when people's habits are really, really established and nailed down, I can tell you how many people are like, I can't believe I used to say I didn't have the time. Like, I did. It's just I wasn't making the time. And I do not expect people, if your brain is in the stage of change right now where you feel like, I don't have time, there's no way for me, I don't expect you to shift your beliefs in this one podcast episode. But I just hope it gets you thinking, maybe. I hope it puts some awareness in your brain, or I hope it just kind of, it gives you an aha moment of like, oh, other people have been where I am right now and have made the changes to make it a sustainable lifestyle. Because that is the ultimate goal, right? Is to go from where you are right now, wherever that may be, and create sustainable, healthy habits that you're able to stick with for the long run. That does not mean that there won't be times where life gets crazy, right? Halloween is coming up. You're probably going to have candy. Then it's Thanksgiving. Maybe you're traveling. Then it's Christmas. Shit hits the fan. Kids are out of school. Routines are all over the place. But what I teach my clients is to come back from that and to not have to start over when they do it, right? Because they've held on to some of the healthy habits that they were able to when shit hit the fan. And then once they were back to, air quote unquote, normal routine and schedule where their capacity opened back up to their usual amount, then we're able to just ease back in to those bigger habits. And it just is so much more smooth. So yeah, the way that I teach my clients to do things is to just ease up, push forward, ease up, push forward, right? Because that's what it's all about. And so I'm going off on a tangent here, but truthfully, I want you to recognize that when you shift your brain from, I don't have time for all of that, to, I'm not willing to make time for that right now, that's a power move, to be honest, because that means you're taking control. You took the power away from your schedule, and you are now in control of your schedule by saying, I'm not willing to make time for that right now. It's not on the agenda. It's what I say a lot of times when people ask me if I journal. I go in spurts of journaling. It is something that I do enjoy, but it is not something that I am willing to take and put a bunch of my time towards right now, because there's other self-care activities that have a larger impact on my mental and physical health right now. So it does not mean that journaling isn't powerful tool in my toolbox. It just means that I have more powerful ones, and those are the ones I'm going to put my energy and attention towards right now. Because if I were to shift that over and put it on to journaling, that, yes, is it beneficial? Sure. Are there things that are more beneficial to me personally? Yes. So those are the things that I'm going to lean into. When my capacity opens back up and I feel open to journaling more often, will I do it? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But I think that that's important, is to take the control back in your schedule, because it is your schedule, and you can't be so out of control all of the time. Because here's the thing, we have kids, right? So our kids dictate what we do, how we do it, the pace at which we do it. Like, our kids are in control of our lives so often, and we are led by what our family's needs are all of the time. And so if you just take ownership over your schedule and the impacts that you have on it, again, like, that's a power move. It is so incredibly important. So just own it, right? Like, I've had people ask me lately, you must meal prep on the weekends. And I used to all of the time. Is it something that I'm doing all of the time right now? No, because I work from home right now, which makes it slightly easier for me to be able to make meals for myself during the day. I meal plan. I plan out my week so that I know what groceries I'm going to get. But meal prepping on the weekends for me right now is not as much of a benefit as it was before when I was working outside of the house. My needs changed when my schedule changed. And you know what I'm doing is I'm taking ownership and control of that by saying, you know what? Right now, I don't want to take a chunk of my Sunday to meal prep. I just don't want to. I would rather take a little bit of a chunk out of my work day to meal prep, or just cook in the moment type of a thing. Because that's what's important to me. So I have control over my schedule. So instead of saying, no, I'm not meal prepping right now, life is a little bit crazy. No, I'm saying, no, I'm not meal prepping on the weekends right now. I don't need to. I would rather do it during the day. Do you see the shift in the energy of that? It's so powerful. So I would just encourage you to ask yourself, what are your excuses right now? Right? And, what are your excuses for fitness? What are your excuses for nutrition? What are your excuses for letting your boundaries slip up all the time? For having shit sleep routines, right? Like no morning routine, no evening routine. What are your excuses for that? And then once you've nailed down what your excuses are, then take ownership of them and ask yourself, why am I not doing those things? And then own it. Say, you know what? Yeah, I'm actually not doing that because XYZ. It's not super important to me right now. It's not giving me the value that I need right now, or whatever it may be. Or you may realize, well, Jesus, that's actually a terrible excuse. Why am I not doing that? I need to do that for myself. I've always felt better when I worked out. I don't know why I'm not putting my time and attention towards that right now. Like, just yeah, again, own it. Own it. So up your awareness, think about stuff, and take some ownership over the choices that you are making every single day. Because yes, are there things out of your control? 100%. But are there things in your control right now that you could take more control over? 100%. 100%. There's no debate on that. Okay? So just think about that. If you can't tell, I'm extremely passionate. It is 6:30 in the morning and I just recorded this podcast on my way home from the gym. So hopefully you didn't hear too much background noise. Hopefully it wasn't too chaotic, too caffeine infused because I just had my workout drink. But I hope you have the best day and I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into the Prioritize You podcast. If you got something out of this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would screenshot this and share it on your stories or just share it with a friend. Just imagine if we could all prioritize our needs as moms. I just feel like the world would be a better place if moms were more well taken care of. And if you feel like, oh my God, Brittany, I need support like right now, I get it and I've got you. Go to my website and fill out the coaching application and let's get this process started. All right, I'll see you all on my Instagram between episodes. I'd love to hear from you. So send me a DM and let's chat about how you can start to prioritize you. And maybe I'll just create an episode around any questions that you might have. You can also leave a rating and review on iTunes. It really helps me get this message out there and connect with more moms who are in this same position as us. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next episode.